Staring at the ceiling. Let's give you something to think about in this broadcast. We are showing you knowledge of prophecies that are coming to pass as we are living in these end times. 21 gun salute is truly a situation to be researched and made sure that many of us are in the understanding of what's coming. There is a lot going on in the world, but thy kingdom come, thy will be done. And no matter how much people want to pretend they have no idea what's going on in the world, everybody know what's going on in the world. There's so much injustice. There's so much miscarriage of economics, greed. There's so much that Obadiah, the prophecy of Obadiah, spoke about. Most people want to be here studying the Bible like it's some mythological book that is like something that you think somebody got to read your story that's of myth and you think that is truth. No, this is the book of our history, our fathers' book, their legacy. These are prophecies, visions that are given to our forefathers to put it in a book because God knows his root, the creme de la creme, seed of Abraham, his friend. God understands. God has no time for you all to understand not. The prophecy of Obadiah is, in fact, a prophecy that is so scary that most people don't understand. You must get a mask like that. It's going to be a scary time to survive. It's going to be a scary time to understand what's going on because Edom's pride has deceived him. And this is about 45 to 1 hour while we charge the phone. We're going to let you hear the prophecy, the whole basic surrounding of the prophecy. Not quite hearing the word being preached, but we're going to give you that maybe in the switch-ups because no matter what, we want you guys to get the gist of the story of Scripture. The prophecy of Obadiah talks about America in the last days that is bringing the pride which is deceiving the whole world and making people misunderstand truth of their salvation out of this economic upheaval, turmoil, constant enslavement of breath. If you cannot breathe, you cannot eat, you cannot survive because of a system that is oppression. We cannot understand it. So therefore, this prophecy that you're about to hear from Obadiah, that's our forefathers. This prophecy is becoming so real that is coming to pass. This is true what's going on in the world. Most people don't get it. A lot of people don't get it. But we are going to have to get it because no matter what, we're seeing what's happening. We know people out here pretending to have all these economical schemes, All these ways to making money. It's nothing new under the sun. Okay? Our forefathers knew this way back. That's why we're first man. Melanin. First man. Adam. Made like the soil. The sand. That's right. Adam. We got no time for y'all to misunderstand us. Y'all pretend you don't want to be part of the truth. You want to pretend we're speaking against you. You want to call yourself a tribe that don't exist? The hell is wrong with y'all? Stop misunderstanding what is to come. What is prophecy? What is truth? It's like charging your phone, y'all. You cannot understand knowledge unless your phone is charged to understand and receive the knowledge. Otherwise, your phone is off. Nobody want to hear you. Because at the end of the day, most people pretend that you got to see the audience watching in order for them to give you something good to listen to. No, we're going to give y'all something good to listen to. The prophecy of Obadiah is coming up. I want y'all to listen to this, and I want y'all to get your masks, get everything that you need ready. Because the truth of the matter is, Edom is so prideful. That's Donald Trump's people. That's America. Edom. That's the European Union. Edom. They're so prideful that it's deceiving them. Their whole pride is deceiving their vision. Their vision of making America what they want to make America because they think they're leading America. It's deceiving them. Meanwhile, the enemies lurk. Meanwhile, the prophecy is to come to pass that is written. So all people have to do now is not fight the prophecy, but understand the prophecy. Man always want to fight something they cannot conquer. Why? Why? You can make sure, just like the mask you see that I'm wearing, you can protect your breath from receiving any sort of unwanted air in case of any sort of disaster that is going to cause Edom, which is America, European Union, that's going to lead them all the way to Armageddon, as the prophecy suggests. But it's going to be chemical warfare that's going to make people understand not what's going on. A lot of people are going to die. But let you guys hear the prophecy. Let you guys see what's going on. We have no time for people to misunderstand. If you want to misunderstand, misunderstand. If you want to watch me and say, who's this guy? He doesn't know what the hell is truth. He has no idea. He was born last night. You're right, I'm born at night, but I wasn't born last night. The truth of the matter is, law and order must come. And Obadiah's prophecy gives you the last castle falling down, which is America. So you guys can hear the prophecy. When you hear terms like Edom, it's talking about America, meaning the white man, to be specific. And it's talking about Judah. It's talking about the black man, to be specific. So we don't want you guys to be confused when you're hearing things like it's some kind of fairy tale fictional story. No, it ain't. These are people. You are who you are in this world. These are existing people. It's not some fairy tale story back in the days. It's not something that they want to paint to you like, oh, Santa Claus, all the three elves come down, the rangers, and no, people, come on, wake up. Don't be stupid. These people's pride of telling stories has deceived them. And now, they're understanding not. So this is Obadiah's prophecy. And who you see on your screen is Edom. So let's continue. Let's play the prophecy.
Oh,
The
Obadiah.
book
of Obadiah is one of the most powerful and surprising works in the Old Testament. Despite being the shortest book in the Bible, its message reverberates through the pages of history, echoing a stern warning against pride and betrayal. Obadiah does not get lost in long details or complex stories. He gets straight to the point, bringing an uncompromising divine judgment that spares no one. The magnitude of your message lies in its conciseness and precision. In just 21 verses, the prophet launches a prophecy that serves as a kind of judgment throne for the nations, especially for Edom, the nation that was chosen to serve as an example. The story begins in it.
So when it says Edom, the nation that is chosen to serve as an example, it's talking about America, specifically the white man, America, European Union. So Edom, that means the Edomites. Esau, the Esau, like Elon Musk is Edomite. Edom, Donald Trump is Edom. The prophecy is discussing about them. Their pride has deceived them, especially all the technology guys, Mark Zuckerberg's, all the weirdos, Bill Gates. Their pride has deceived them. So now, God is ready to cast judgment. Let's continue.
Time of decay and moral degradation. The book of Obadiah is not only a reflection on the distant past, but also a warning to future generations, whether from powerful empires or ordinary individuals. The author uses a severe tone, almost as if it were thunder that rips through the sky, to warn about the consequences of betrayal, pride, and arrogance. As you have done, it will be done to you.
That's right. So, just to give y'all inner commentary, what goes around comes around. So that means what you do in this world will be done to you. Careful what you do to other people out there. And as a nation, what you do to other nations will be done to you. Suggest by the Bible, which is the truth of our forefathers. That means Edom, which is the white man's nation, Edomites, what they've done to us as people, black people, brown people, will be done back to them. That means he that led us into captivity shall go into captivity. That's right. Let's continue.
Central phrase that marks the heart of the entire prophecy, establishing an uncompromising principle. What one does to another will be done to him.
And if you don't think we're in captivity, we don't have our own monetary system as black people and brown people. The white man controls our system in monetary ways and our lifestyles. So, he that leadeth to captivity shall go into captivity. They lead us into this captivity by controlling us with their weaponry systems and technology. So they shall go into the same. We're going to control them in the coming new government kingdom come. Let's go. Continue.
The importance of this small work is often underestimated due to its small size. However, the lack of words does not diminish its strength. On the contrary, it makes the message even more powerful and direct. It's a punch in the gut that wakes us up to the reality that no matter how great or strong a nation or person may feel, none of us are beyond the reach of God's judgment.
Exactly. Because it happened to us, and it's happening to us still. See how long we're under God's judgment? You have no idea how fast God judges us black people with constant problems, disunity, loyalty, all of that. All because we're living in sin. But now God has seen that you guys are perpetrating us to live in these conditions continuously. by constantly running our lives based on your economical tyranny. And it's causing us not to even put ourselves together, let alone put our community or family together. So your pride has deceived y'all. It's not y'all stopping us. Y'all stopping yourself now. Continuing.
The moment a nation begins to consider itself immune, it is already heading towards its downfall. And that is exactly what Obadiah prophesies about Edom. The book begins with a clear vision of destruction, a judgment that is already determined and will be carried out without hesitation. There is no escape, no mercy for Edom. The pride of these people was their downfall, and Obadiah's prophecy makes it clear that no one can defy divine justice with impunity. Edom's pride is characterized by its belief in its invincibility, an idea that was born from its privileged geographical position. They dwelt in the mountains, inaccessible and impenetrable. However,
see, they dwelt in the mountain, the Caucasus Mountain. That is talking about the Caucasian people that always dwell in high places. North America, Europe. You get it? Let's continue.
Obadiah is about to undo this illusion of security, showing that there is no fortress that can resist divine judgment. When describing the scenario, the prophet uses the metaphor of thunder, indicating that the message cannot be ignored. The impact of the book is like lightning striking hard rock, splitting it into pieces. In modern times, this still resonates. Nations that believe in their invulnerability, that depend on their military or economic strength to protect themselves, are building sand castles. The book of Obadiah serves as a reminder that no matter how high the tower of human pride may be, it will one day be torn down. The central character,
right.
Edom, is a nation that thought itself above everything and everyone. Her pride blinded her to the consequences of her actions. When Jerusalem was invaded by...
You hear that? America's pride is blinding her to the consequence of her action. It's the same way that a basic woman tried to pretend she learns how to make money now. Her pride blinds her from the consequence of her action. That means she doesn't understand that you cannot sex so many men to get money. You can't last. Your pride has deceived you that you're a beauty, you're pretty. It's the same way America thinks they can spread their tentacles all around the world and pretend to run the world based on their military, not realizing nobody's afraid of someone that feels like they've grown so fat that you cannot lose weight anymore. The only thing you have to do now is to be gone forever.
Babylonians in 586 BC, Edom,
Continue.
who had a kinship relationship with the Jews, remained at a distance, laughing at the tragedy and taking advantage of his brother's misery. This represented a profound betrayal, which led to God's judgment on them. Obadiah speaks firmly, leaving no doubt about the fate of Edom. The destruction will be total and without remedy. The warning for Edom is clear. No one, no matter how strong, is above divine judgment. No nation is invincible before God.
That's
and
right.
This is the main point
That's the main point. The law. No one's above the law is basically what the prophecy of Obadiah is referring to. No one is above the law. No matter who you are in this world, you are not above the law. No matter who you are in this world, you are not above the law. And that's what the prophecy of Obadiah is suggesting. So as we continue this study, to make understanding so basic, so simple, and we give people real world explanation and truth and prophecy of how much the prophecy are actually coming to pass. That's why this book is our book, because we are the only ones that can decipher it according to prophecy and according to time, the timeline of the prophecy. This is the Obadiah prophecy, 21 gun salute. I'm not sure where you guys heard that term from, but I heard that term from Tupac Shakur. 21 gun salute. That's how much the book of Obadiah is. 21 chapters that explains the end of this tyranny that is being caused by prideful nation. A prideful nation like America, for example, is causing God to bring the judgment, because God realized America pride is causing a lot of harm around the world. And unfortunately for this nation, they have a president that is so much more prideful, saying everything in millions, billions, trillions, and constantly talking against neighbors and different people and all of that, that is trying to coexist and understand economics. But yet, this man is showing so much pride. And that's what the Obadiah prophecy is. Your pride has deceived you. Let's continue.
Obadiah tries to communicate. He describes the fall of Edom not as a mere prediction, but as something already in progress, a divine sentence.
You heard that? Already in progress.
And this prophecy has resonated throughout history, not only as a past event, but as a symbol of all nations that trust in human power and neglect the justice of God. Finally, the opening of Obadiah.
You see that? Neglect the justice of God. Most people don't think God exists. You look up at the sky. Man cannot make sky. How can you be such a child? Let's continue.
Reminds us that God is sovereign over all things. Although we may think we are invulnerable or immune to the consequences of our actions, God watches everything, and his justice will be executed. The book of Obadiah, therefore, is an urgent call to reflect on our attitudes before God. He challenges us to see beyond our own limitations and recognize that God's judgment is not something distant, but something that can reach anyone at any time.
You got that right. Your pride, don't let it deceive you, because this also refers to individuals and nations and communities. What do you think happened to black people? Our pride deceived us when we had rulership in 70 AD, and our kingdom got torn apart. Everything got taken away. Captivity, we went into slavery. And we're still in slavery. We haven't been emancipated yet. We don't have our own world, that we control our own government. We have our own understanding of policies and communities, and literally running the world like ambassadors of God. That's what's coming. But for now, we're learning not to have pride, because we have been conquered. But now Edom, the white man, has pride, doesn't think he can be conquered, only for God to bring him down and show him that he's God. Just like God said to Pharaoh. By the way, my name is Moses. God said to Pharaoh, I have raised you, Pharaoh. Meaning God has said it to Moses. I have raised thee. It said it in the Bible. I have raised thee, so I might show my power. That means, Pharaoh, I raise you to be this powerful, to enslave my people, because my people have sinned in Egypt. And Egypt is the word synonymous for slavery. And spiritual Egypt is America now. So Pharaoh is the white man, Edom. And their pride now has deceived them. And that means God's people never change, just like God never changes. These people are always black, brown, the people that went through slavery first. That's right. So let's continue.
Historical contextualization.
Because judgment starts at home. So God starts with his own people first. That's why we're still under slavery. It's been 5 captivity. This is the last. This is the 5th. So we plead the 5th.
The setting of Edom and Judah. The book of Obadiah is deeply rooted in a historical context of great tension and devastation. The prophet's prophecy is not limited only to the immediate moment, but reflects the complex and rivalry relationship between two nations, Edom and Judah.
Edom is Elon Musk, Donald Trump, the white man. Nation, America, Europe, Russia, it's all part of Edom. Edom. That's Edomite. That's Esau. That's Idumea, meaning Dune, the movie that you like so much. It's about all the Edomites, meaning Italians, all of them. They're Edomites. Let's go. And Judah is black. That's black Americans, black West Africans, Judah. Because Edom, the white man, comes from us. In a sense, we are their big brother, but they want to be our big brother. And that's the whole battle that's been lasting from that time, Genesis 25, all the way till now.
Located in the southeast of Israel, was a mountainous nation, and the strategic position of its cities, built on high cliffs, gave a feeling of security and invulnerability. Judah, although it also had great historical and religious importance, was going through a period of vulnerability, especially after the Babylonian invasion that resulted in the destruction of Jerusalem in 586 BC.
You get it? Babylonian invasion of the Black Kingdom, Judah. They must have invaded with a whole lot of perversions. Perversions, meaning homosexualities, all the way to all these beautiful women that do crazy fellatios that make a nigga go crazy. If you want to put it blunt. It make a nigga go bananas. Because at the end of the day, Babylon is America now, but it was Babylon back in the day, something like America. This is Mystery Babylon now. America is Mystery Babylon. So you can see the sexual perversions that became to Judah, which is the black man's nation. Now the black man is in the white man's nation because the white man took the black man and captures him and make sure that he doesn't have a nation to be straight because he's under sin, the judgment of God, because he can't put his people together because his people are all in disarrangement because of the currency system. So there is no transparency with currency and frequency. Unfortunately, Edom's pride has deceived them. They don't want to share with their brother. So they continuously pretend there's no judgment coming until one fine day. Continue.
Edom and Judah shared a common origin. Both nations were descendants of the sons of Isaac, with Judah coming from Jacob, Israel, and Edom descending from Esau, Jacob.
That's right. That means black and white came from 2 black parents, Isaac and Rebekah. The story of Esau and Jacob. That's 2 black parents having a mulatto kid that's a white kid that you know as a white man now, aka white man, also known as, and a black kid that looked like his parents. So they came from us. our seed.
Twin brother. Although both had roots in the same patriarch, the relationship between the two nations was never friendly. From the birth of Jacob and Esau, the rivalry between them was evident. The Bible tells us that Esau sold his birthright to Jacob for a bowl of lentils, Genesis 25:29-34, which generated deep hatred between the two families. The separation between these two nations began in the post-exile period of the people of Israel. During the Babylonian exile, Judah suffered the loss of its independence, with the destruction of the temple in Jerusalem and the deportation of many of its inhabitants to Babylon.
You hear that? We suffer the destruction of our temple, all because we sinned against our Lord. That means our Father, who is in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. We suffered because we did not do what our Father said. We should have known better. But unfortunately, we kept fighting with our pride of not going down because we're the strongest people in the world and we look so good. All the women love us, and our pride deceived us. And we looked at Edom like we're helping y'all, but we don't realize Edom is a snake. And they kept chipping in, trying to get us all broken down until they finally broke us down, just like they still do up to this day. They keep trying to break us down so much instead of helping us like a brother. It's just like what happened in The Lion King. Mufasa, the black man, says Scar, which is the white man. When he says, Scar, help me, Scar didn't help him. Wanted to take his kid, Simba, and train him to be a slave. And unfortunately, Simba was the Lion of Judah. He is not a slave. He will fight Edom until Edom gives up. And eventually God brings his judgment. Let's continue.
This was the crucial moment when Edom should have acted like a brother, protecting his relatives and offering help. However, instead, Edom was indifferent and worse, celebrated the fall of Jerusalem. This lack of compassion and his attempt to take advantage of Judah's tragedy became the main reason for God's anger. The story of Edom's betrayal of Judah is told in Obadiah chapter 1 verse 11, which says, "In the day that you stood outside, in the day that foreigners took their army captive, and foreigners entered their gates and cast lots for Jerusalem, you too were one of them." Here Obadiah not only denounces Edom's indifference, but also his active participation in the oppression and suffering of the people of Judah.
You hear that? That means the white man took active participation in our suffering and continues to take active participation in making us suffer more than God's judgment perceives. So we're just living this life right now because God is realizing, okay, the white man's still spoiling us in a way of he gives us a little something because he's taking so much. But at the same time, it's too slow. So now God is judging him based on his own peers. Because God has to take away our struggles by making sure the economy is in favor of us, by having a lot of us multiply. So that's why we're multiplying so much more and we're so much in the world. All because no matter what, you're only living this long. As an Edomite or as a Judah or as a Israel. Israel is the other people, which is us too as well. Latino, so black, Latinos, natives, or Israel, which is including of Judah, Southern Kingdom, and Israel, which is Northern Kingdom. We're Judah because we're all mixed with Judah, Benjamites, and Levites. The three amigos. That means black people. All right, Benjamites are more Caribbean, like Jamaicans and all that. Trinidadians and all that. And Levites are Haitians and all that. And a lot of African people are Levites. And a lot of Judites are African as well, West African more, and American, black Americans. Let's continue for a little more.
Of acting compassionately, associated himself with Judah's enemies and collaborated in their destruction. This betrayal was more than a simple act of passivity. It was a deliberate action to take advantage of the suffering of others. The cities of Edom were located in difficult to access areas, protected by mountains, which gave them a strategic advantage. However, this geographical advantage also fueled the pride of the Edomite people, who saw themselves as unbeatable. They believed they were beyond the reach of any enemy force, and even more, they believed they were exempt from any moral or divine consequences.
Exactly how Donald Trump thinks. We're separated by so much, a large ocean, a very large ocean. We're so far away from anyone messing us up. But we have a lot of base around your country. Next door to your neighbor, we are your neighbor's friend better than your neighbor is your friend. Your pride has deceived you. Don't you know something called the art of war is when you implode from within? That's God's judgment. That's what's going to happen to Edom, America. You're going to implode from within because your pride has deceived you. You're fattened everything about yourself so much that you can no longer literally be sustainable.
This pride was one of the fundamental causes of his fall.
You fatten yourself with wickedness. That's what it is.
Where he says, the pride of your heart has deceived you.
That's right. Your heart is so fattened with your pride. It's deceiving you, meaning you're thinking you cannot be dismissed or put away or end as a nation.
Who dwell in the clefts of the rocks, whose dwelling is on high, who say in your heart, who will bring me down to the earth? The rivalry between Edom and Judah is not just a matter of territorial or political disputes, but also reflects questions of allegiance and morality. Judah, despite its faults, still maintained a bond with the God of Israel. Edom, by choosing to ally with his brother's enemies, was distancing himself not only from Judah, but also from the alliance with God. This breach of trust between the two nations is a reflection of how sin and pride can destroy relationships and erode any ethical foundation. The judgment that Obadiah brings to Edom is not only a historical condemnation, but also a universal warning. Edom's betrayal reveals a spiritual truth about the consequences of pride and indifference to the suffering of others. Edom's actions did not go unpunished, and the story of its fall is a reminder that no nation, no matter how powerful, is beyond the reach of divine justice. Furthermore, Obadiah's prophecy makes clear that the actions of a people not only affect their own nation, but have repercussions for all of humanity. The book of Obadiah, then, offers a vision of justice that goes beyond local and historical issues, reflecting on the way God views nations, their alliances, and their treatment of others. The destruction of Edom, therefore, is not just a reaction against the betrayal of one nation to another, but an example of how God responds to pride, violence, and oppression. The story of Edom serves as a warning to all people who, with the same arrogance, believe that they can ignore God's justice and continue to prosper. With this, we better understand the scenario in which Obadiah prophesied and the importance of his warning. The historical relationship between Edom and Judah establishes the basis for prophecy and teaches us about the consequences of selfish behavior and indifference to the pain and needs of others. The initial context and awakening of judgment. The book of Obadiah begins its development with a clarity of purpose that is rare in most prophecies. In a few verses, the prophet establishes the gravity of the moment and the reason for his judgment on Edom. Unlike other prophets who use more complex language or a more engaging narrative, Obadiah gets straight to the point, condemning Edom's attitude bluntly. This blunt beginning sets the tone for the entire prophecy. The destruction of Edom will not be a simple occurrence, but a divine, inevitable, and just event.
Wow. Obadiah gets straight to the point. The destruction of America comes within an hour. That's what the prophecy said. So we're not speaking terrorism or any of that nature that people want to talk about. We're just letting you know what the prophecy said. The destruction of Babylon, Mystery, America, Edom comes within an hour. Not now, but it comes in a blink of an eye. In a sense, their pride has deceived them so much that they don't see where the danger is coming in. And that's why Donald Trump is yelling about the border so much, going crazy, because he never built the military, but he says he built the military again. They have this way of pretending to have security, but it's a false sense of security because their pride has deceived them. China has ways to enter America. China is already in America. Arabia is already in America. All these other nations that are against America is already in America. So God knows the truth of warfare. This is a caterpillar warfare that is about to take place because the pride of a nation has deceived them, thinking nobody can reach them across the ocean. Now they're fighting with their neighbors and everybody else that they should not be fighting with, but all they want to do is pretend.
And in contextualizing it, he not only refers to the immediate tragedy of Judah, but also to the moral corruption of Edom, which was deeply rooted in their pride. Edom's judgment begins with a clear warning about his pride. Something that...
See, deeply rooted in their pride, meaning their seed, Edom, which is the white man, Donald Trump, Edom. His seed, his soul is not upright in him, meaning he does not understand no other economics of fair share, but to act like a clown and put tariff on people and pretend that he is the leader of the world. He's the king. He built this world. He pretty much, this world, you might as well put Trump outside of the flipping the world that's turning around, the globe. That's what his pride has gone to, unfortunately. And it's sad that they all have this thought as a nation. So he's representing them because this is how they all think.
Obadiah emphasizes right at the beginning of the prophecy. In verse 3 of Obadiah it is written, "The pride of your heart has deceived you, you who dwell in the clefts of the rocks, whose dwelling is on high, who say in your heart, who will bring me down to the earth?" Edom's pride was a striking feature. They believed that their fortified cities, located in the mountains, made them unbeatable. This pride blinded them to the consequences of their actions and prevented them from seeing that, however high their fortifications were, they were not beyond the reach of divine justice. It was a blind pride, which made them believe that they were immune to any threat, whether external enemies or the hand of God itself. However, Obadiah's prophecy is a clear demonstration that when a nation or a person puts themselves on the pedestal of self-sufficiency and pride, they are headed for ruin. Obadiah's vision of Edom is not just a criticism of pride itself, but a denunciation of how this pride leads to indifference to the pain of others. Edom, who saw the destruction of Jerusalem, not only turned away, but rejoiced. Verse 12.
And the pride is rejoicing in other people's suffering. That means if you're like, say, for example, Elon Musk, you're worth billions. Donald Trump, you're worth billions. All these other rich white people that are calling themselves It's complete pride because you think you, as a man that's only living about 50 to 80, 90, if you're lucky, years old, you're worth this amount of money that you cannot spend in your lifetime. That is pride of greed. And that's the same pride we speak about, the misunderstanding of people that keep pretending that the minute you say a white man or a black man, they think you're talking about them. No, pride is pride. If you are worth nothing in the world when you came in, why do you have so much pride? Trying to chase this money so much, for the love of money is the root of all evil. And this is the truth. This is the pride that has deceived the white man. And it's coming to some of the black people, black guys that are constantly chasing money on an individual level. But as a nation, the pride has deceived the white people so badly that they don't understand that the truth of judgment is death. The wages of sin is death. That means your nation, your representation, your family, whatever it is you think you believe in, is going down. You know why? You have companies like Galen Weston. You have companies like Walmart. You have companies like all these greed. People are out there starving. People are out there homeless. People are out there with nothing. And you people keep spending time pretending to understand economics. Just dismantle these big box stores, these places of storage of goods that have no use, and make apartments, make people live in places where people can understand God's grace. Let's continue a little more, and we're going to end this live very soon. We just wanted to give y'all a lesson about don't let your pride deceive you.
Says, do not rejoice in the day of your brother's destruction.
And don't rejoice when other people fall or other people have, especially your family members or your people, your next of kin, people that look like you. Don't rejoice in their problem, whatever they're going through. If they're broke, don't rejoice because you think you're rich, because you have money for the moment. That's pride. And that pride is the first sin, and it's also the last sin. Pride leads to idolatry, worshiping idol, meaning you're so proudful in yourself that you worship yourself in the mirror with the selfie. You're so proud of nothing that you worship a stone or a rock. And you pretend you know the truth, but yet you're so proud to lie that you know the truth, instead of telling that you don't know the truth according to wisdom of the Holy Bible.
Falls. Do not rejoice over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction. This stance of celebrating the other's fall is a reflection of Edom's heightened pride, who believed that his rise could be confirmed by his brother's defeat. The rise of divine justice and the ruin of Edom. The timeline of Edom's judgment continues to unfold.
You see what they said right there? The white people think that because of them destroying us and putting us down and not making us rise in terms of Africa, being a nation to be fairly traded with about its resources, because of that reason, they think they should be exalted because they put us down. They think it's a competition like that. The average white man thinks the only way for him to get rich is for him to tarnish a community full of black people and take a land full of people of indigenous, take something from other people, even his own people. That's the only way they feel like they put themselves together, is to band up and build weapons and feel like hillbillies, feud and bring war to the city. They feud. This is what they do. It's because their heart is upright. It's not upright in them. Your heart is supposed to be upright in you. That means your soul. Most of them, they don't have their soul upright. And unfortunately, God knows the wheat from the tares, and they are the tares.
As Obadiah describes the impending doom of the nation that refused to recognize its vulnerability before God.
That the Bible
Verse
speaks
15,
of.
one of the most impactful in the prophecy,
The wicked.
reveals the culmination
You
of
don't know that
divine
word.
judgment. For the day of the Lord is near for all the nations. As you have done, so will it be done to you. Your worth will fall on your own head.
Exactly. If you do something to somebody without you saying it's for self-defense, it will be done back to you. Even worse, maybe. But if you're in a self-defense state, then it won't be done back to you because it's just the laws of God. God is the one that maketh everything. Good, evil, all of that. Rising, falling, all of that. It's all the Son of God. The Father, none of us know or understand. Only the Son, I've heard the Father. Even Abraham only heard the Son of God. He never heard the Father. Many of you can't go that deep yet because you don't understand the Bible.
Here, Obadiah introduces us to the idea of the day of the Lord.
Even Moses only heard the Son of God. He never heard the Father. Most of you don't know that truth yet. The Father will come, but another time after the Son has taken over this kingdom. That means God is the one that's judging. It's not up to a man to keep another man down in order for him to rise. That's like what this other white boy told me, a friend of mine, so-called friend, says, oh man, I don't know, man. When people are sad, I'm happy, man. I feel like, I don't know, like, fuck it, man. Fuck people, man. It's just what it is, man. I feel better when people are fucking mean, man. I'm like, why do you have to feel happy when people are sad? Don't feel like that. Don't be like that. That's pride. Don't let your pride deceive you. Let's continue a little more. We give it about, right now, we're going up to the hour mark. We only do power hour, y'all. We know y'all have no time to listen to something, but we want y'all to get it right. So, you know what? Matter of fact, we already heard what happened. So we're going to give you a little more, like 5 more minutes to finish the hour. All right? Don't let your pride deceive you. If you feel like somebody's trying to track you down, people are trying to do so much, don't worry about all these lawsuits, trying to get them losing this and this. Don't let money be your pride. Don't let money be your motivation. Do something with purpose and reasoning. And try, because when you pray, God will help you to understand that if you try your reasoning, your purpose of understanding that there's no pride, you can't fight this battle yourself. Pray. Study, pray, and apply. Then you realize God will also look at your case and study it and pray with you and apply judgment, because God will realize you are not in the wrong. The other were in the wrong of pride
A fundamental concept throughout
and
Scripture.
idolatry.
The day of the Lord does not just refer to a single
They don't know him. That's idolatry, when you don't know God.
event, but to a time when God enters the history of the nations to bring judgment. What Edom did to Judah by rejoicing in its fall and taking advantage of the misery of its brothers will be repaid in a fair and ruthless way. The nation that felt secure in its fortitude and arrogance.
You hear that? Will be paid in a ruthless way, breathtaking way. That means they will feel pain until they understand their judgment of the greed of pride.
Now experience divine fury in a way it never imagined. The concept of the day of the Lord is crucial to understanding Edom's judgment. For many people, the day of the Lord was an expectation of liberation and victory. But for Edom, This day would become the moment of its destruction. Obadiah clearly states that while Edom was relying on its wealth, its alliances, and its impassable geography, the sovereign God was preparing its downfall. Edomite pride, which seemed unshakable, would be undone by divine power. The security that Edom thought it had in the mountains and in the riches of its trade routes would no longer be a shield, but a trap. God.
You got it. You hear that? And that's the end of this podcast. A trap. That means America is in a trap. They think because there's an ocean between them and a lot of these nations that want to take them down, that they are in prideful of their protection. But don't understand that when you lose God, that means you went into idolatry. You become in a trap. God set a snare for you. So you can understand his judgment. He's the one that gives you sovereignty because of his people. And he's the one that brings evil because of his people being treated wrong. Even though he lets his people become very, very much so the marker point of his judgment. And no matter how much you want to slice it, who are his people? Well, they're black people, okay? You want to keep it simple. All black everything. Abe, A-B-E. Abraham is black. Adam is black, okay? God only spoke to 3 men in terms of understanding and letting them speak to him or hearing his voice. That's God the Son. That's Adam in the garden. He walked with him. First man, black man. And then Abraham. He led Abraham. Actually, Noah might have got a prophecy or Noah might have heard God. It depends. And then after that, it's Moses. So God only decides to deal with 3 or 4 people in terms of that. That's the Son, that is. So the Father, they all never heard. So now, if you don't know who the Son is, I feel sorry for you. Because he's the most famous man in the world. He became a man and he became a God. From lambs to lion. Thank you for listening. Subscribe. Make sure y'all subscribe and stop playing games. We don't understand why this YouTube ain't growing. We put so many good content, teach people, we try. But it's almost as if like they have some kind of shadow ban, natural shadow ban of greed. That's because these nations are suffering under the judgment of God. They don't know where the problem lies. And they're just being deceitful in their ways until the trap is complete in its nature. And then you see the disarrangement and complete shutdown of a nation. Indignation. Thank you for listening. Don't get caught in the wind of greed and pride. And don't let it deceive you. Don't let your sins hold you down. And realize that the truth of life is in fact in wisdom and in charity of your community. Stop chasing the dollar. Stop chasing the pussy. Stop doing all that crap. Seek the kingdom and all shall be added unto you. Thank you. My name again is Moses Anomaly. I am your host with the most to show you the face of God soon to come. All eyes on me.